and he's making it difficult. And even when they score on him, he's coming right back and trying to win the next possession, and that's what we love about him. And he's really fearless, and he's unflappable.
TCL is a proud sponsor of the Score North Studios. Enjoy more of the things you love with TCL. These two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
How many moral victories is that now on the season, Judd Zulgad? How many have we been tallying the moral victories for the Timberwolves?
Let's classify them, because last night was a quality moral victory. I was off my couch last night, almost weeping at the thought of how competitive the Wolves were. And I mean, after being smoked in the first quarter, they cracked down on defense and played so very well. And I could tell Finchie was excited by it. Finchie was like, if you took away, Finchie said, if you take away the first 12 minutes of that game, that's a win for us. So, yeah, that's in fact, the Wolves are now a small known fact that only I track. The Wolves now are not the worst team in the league. They are the fourth best team when it comes to, if you take away a quarter, you should see the amount of games that they win. Like, if this is a 36-minute game, you should, oh my God, they're going to the playoffs. They're going to be in the three-quarter playoffs. I guarantee it.
Yeah, if they can just pick their three quarters after all the games are played, right? All right, this is great. Let's just get rid of. It's like isn't it like when you're factoring in a golf handicap? Like, don't you have to lop off the ends? Like if you shoot 130 at Pebble Beach or something, like we're not going to count that. But if you cheat and fire a 65, we're not going to count that either. It's kind of like the Timberwolves. By the way, speaking of golf, before we dive into a juicy question, and rumor has it we may be getting a Randy and Cottage Grove 1.0 mock draft. And I just want to say,
he's back this year?
I just want to say that he has nailed correctly two of the last three Vikings first-round picks, Mike Hughes and Justin Jefferson. And so this dude, he's going to come on, give us his 1.0. It's a tradition, so we'll do that. But speaking of golf, PXG Minneapolis is where it's at. If you want some of the best clubs on the market, PXG has you covered right now with their Gen 4 clubs, all right? Drivers, fairways, hybrids, irons. These are PXG's flagship clubs, which, by the way, like the flagship for PXG and the fact that these are the best clubs PXG has ever made, that is a high bar because they make amazing golf clubs. They also have the 0 to 11 golf clubs, a full line of high-performance clubs packed with PXG technology, priced a little bit more within reach. And if you just want to look stylish, if you just listen, maybe your golf game is too far gone. I don't know, maybe it's just too far gone. You just want to look good. Just want to look good. PXG's new spring and summer apparel just arrived in store. Yesterday, I was going through PXG's hat selection on their website. They have just a million awesome hats. So PXG Minneapolis in Southdale Center, and find out more at pxg.com/Minneapolis.
It's a golf hat. I forget the dexterity of it because honestly it breathes really easily as I'm getting choked up just even thinking about being on the golf course right now.
It's really emotional. It
really is. It's it was 70 degrees here. The wind was blowing. The gale force winds. I was hoping the wind would be at my back when I'd be teeing off yesterday because it was crazy.
I got branches down, baby. I got branches down. It's a problem. Wow. So when Randy calls, can we agree this year that we will not alienate him? And because I believe it was last year, Phil, that you said something and he cut off the mock. Now, I think we did get the Vikings pick, so he was accurate. But I think that you said something and then he got upset and hung up the phone.
He tried to bring a sponsor on to
and
our
he tried
show
to. Well, I just don't want to. I don't want to upset him. I want the mock this time.
Listen, I'm excited for it. I just want to know who he thinks the Vikings are picking
and you know
at 14.
If he brings a sponsor, who knows where that could lead?
Well, as long as he's sharing the revenue, that's all I care.
Exactly. Well, that's what we want.
So, all right. So last night, I'm gonna pose a question that might make y'all feel a little uncomfortable. Makes me feel a little uncomfortable. So I just want to acknowledge it was an emotional night for Kat. It was the first time that his father has attended a game since his mother died from COVID last year. It's been a really hard year for him. He talked after the game about just how emotional it was with his father in the stands, and his dad was trying to be more of a vocal presence than usual to take sort of the place of his mom. And He said, my mom would have been proud of the way I played tonight. And so it was an emotional night for Towns. I know we mocked them off the top, but they showed some fight. They spent the entire night digging back against one of the better teams in the NBA, and they pulled within one within the final minutes, and so they at least didn't quit and lay down. But the Timberwolves after last night, Judd and Declan, are now 47-79 when Karl-Anthony Towns plays over the last 3 seasons after the Jimmy Butler trade. 47-79 in games in which Karl-Anthony Towns plays. What does that mean to you?
All right. I told you this after covering the Rockets games. And by the way, on Friday, Cat played an instrumental role in the 22-0 run that brought the Wolves back from 16 points down in the fourth quarter for an improbable win. But I told you this yesterday. The more I watch Cat, the more I have questions about his game, and the more I have questions about his level of, or his ability to lift up and elevate those around him on the court, not just himself. This goes to a very dark place, and I hate to go there, but I will.
You actually love to go there.
Yeah, so. You love to go.
Well, no, because I'm going to admit to a fault on my part. I still don't agree with how Jimmy Butler went about his business here. I think he and Tibbs were bullies, and I don't know. I would not suggest that the way that they worked is the best way to work in 2019, 2021. That being said, the more I see from Cat, the more I do see, unfortunately, what frustrated Butler, I'm sure, probably more about Cat than Wiggy, because I think Wiggy was sort of just a lost cause. Cat's not. I mean, Cat has tremendous talent, and when he applies himself, he can be great, and he can definitely stuff a box score like our guy Kirk Cousins. Gratuitous Kirk Cousins shot. But unfortunately, what it tells me, Phil, and what I'm seeing is there are a lot of things about the Wolves culture that I don't like, and I don't think Cat elevates it, and that really concerns me, because we can say, okay, the simple answer is get an alpha, and he's just the 2. He's the Robin, not the Batman. But that's black and white. That is far too simple. My issue with that is this one. Anthony Edwards is 19. He's incredibly impressionable. And yes, he has faults, and yes, he's far from a complete basketball player. But when you watch him play at times, there is first overall pick talent there. And he's not Wiggy. He cares. I think he's competitive as hell, okay? So, he is not a lost cause. But I see him falling into habits and nobody, including Cat, correcting those things. And when Anthony Edwards drives the basket and he doesn't dunk and he doesn't make a shot and he thinks he's fouled, he's seen Cat a lot now. And what does he see? Where's the call? Where's the call? I'm going to stand here until I get a call. And meanwhile, the ball is in transition going back up the floor. So this is not Ant is the 1 and Karl's the 2. It's that simple. Karl's an important, instrumental part of this team, and people are watching him, and what he doesn't do is just as important as what he does do. Long way of saying, in short, I have real reservations about who I think Karl is and what he brings to this team as far as an overall culture standpoint.
It's so tough because you're trying to turn around 15 years, mostly. There was the Jimmy Butler run, and that was just sort of a flash of light across the sky, and it was tumultuous, and we all know how it ended. But for the better part of 15 years, the Wolves have been, this is one of the worst stretches in North American sports history record-wise. And the fact that more teams make the playoffs every year than miss the playoffs, and the Wolves have been there once since Kevin Garnett left. And so it is a daunting, tall task, whether you're in the front office or a coach, especially when you have an owner that's just not, he's such a nice guy, Glenn Taylor, but he's just such a bumbling buffoon of a basketball owner. And he doesn't set that winning culture. He doesn't demand excellence in the way that maybe a Mark Cuban does, or the Buss family in Los Angeles, right? And so you're really trying to, whether it's Karl-Anthony Towns or a coach or a front office, to lift all of that up off the franchise's shoulders and turn it around. It takes a Herculean effort. It also takes hitting on draft picks and free agents and trades and whatnot. But the more I think about it, it's complicated because Towns is such an incredibly talented player. I mean, he is one of the most talented 7-footers that's ever stepped foot in the NBA. He's one of the best shooters in the league. Obviously puts up ridiculous numbers on a regular basis. He is their best player right now. He's their most efficient scorer. He's their best player right now. But he doesn't feel like a guy who's the driving force for a winning team. He feels like a passenger. And it's hard to even rip him for that because there's most humans on earth would be unable to turn 15 years of a losing culture. A Kevin Garnett type personality, absolutely. A Kobe Bryant type personality. Towns doesn't have that personality. Cat is much closer to being a Kevin Love than a Kevin Garnett for me. Two guys who both put up ridiculous numbers as Timberwolves. One of them won a lot more games than the other. Some of it was teammates, but let's not forget, it wasn't like Kevin Garnett was blessed with, a big 3 for 10 years here. Kevin Garnett was putting up some ridiculous numbers and winning 45 to 55 games with scrub rosters too, okay? But winning DNA, winning attitude, leadership, everything, demanding excellence, and being that sort of alpha personality is what it took to turn the first 10 years of Wolves' ineptitude around late 80s, early 90s. And so for the first time in 6 years, I am open to the idea of exploring a trade here if you don't think – so Cat has 3 years left on his contract. He's making, I want to say 29 or 30 this year. It escalates up to $35 million in the third year. I'm not going to just be actively trying to trade him, but I am, for the first time in 6 years, I'm open to this discussion. If you feel like you're still 2 or 3 years away from doing anything meaningful, if there's just too much to untangle here, and somebody who's ready to win right now would give you future assets and draft capital for 3 years of that contract. I can't believe I'm saying this because I also think you could just light the franchise on fire if you have to trade Karl-Anthony Towns. So I'm torn on this, but for the first time I'm open to the discussion.
Okay, and I know why you're saying that, and I see the perspective that you're coming from in saying that, but I was having a discussion with somebody, I think it was Saturday's Wolves-Rockets debacle, and what I come back to is, I think you were off the show this day, Declan and I started with this one. What I come back to is this franchise needs to be sold. It's rotten from the head on down. And I don't know that, and look, I think Karl has his flaws, and I do not think that he is an alpha. I think he's a very smart guy. I don't think that he has the DNA of an alpha. He is certainly not Kobe, and he's not even close to being KG. And in the big picture of life, that might be credit Karl-Anthony Towns. All of that being said, okay, Phil, this franchise needs to be sold desperately because the culture change is not just a locker room one now. It's not just one. If we just change, perfect example, the Wild, right? Like the Wild, in my opinion, and I think I'm being proven right here, slowly but surely, had to have a locker room change. But Craig Leopold didn't have to sell. Like the franchise is not rotten. They had issues, but they were still fixable. But when you go back, I believe, to one playoff appearance in 17 years, and what has developed with this franchise. And when I say it's rotten from the head down, I mean it. Trading Karl, yes, would almost be a favor to Karl, but I really believe that we're talking now about a granular problem, a huge problem. This franchise needs to be sold to somebody who comes in and is engaged and, for lack of a better term, knows what they're doing.
So Declan and I were texting the other night. So we've both been watching a ton of Shark Tank on CNBC. Mm-hmm. You ever watch Shark Tank? Judd, are you a Shark Tank guy?
I've come across it a few times. I don't stay on it long.
Great mindless television they have on.
It is. Mm-hmm.
But I've seen Cuban on it a lot.
Yeah. Well, the beauty of it is it can be mindless, but it's also like very thought provoking, and it's just like you can get a crash course in angel investing and just business and all those things. And so those are like, they call it Shark Tank for a reason, because there's like 6 or 7, maybe 7 or 8 that they sort of rotate through. They always have 5 sharks and they bring on some guests. And Mark Cuban's one of the sharks. And these are some of them are billionaires. All of them are worth like 9 figures or more, right? And they know what they're doing. They know what a business should look and feel like. They have conviction. They're not always right, but they have conviction. They're leaders. They're type A, and Mark Cuban is the star of that show. Sometimes he's abrasive. Sometimes he's loving, but like he knows what he wants. He's the star of that show. Could you guys imagine Glenn Taylor on Shark Tank?
No.
Think about it.
I couldn't.
Like Glenn Taylor's a billionaire too. But like, could you imagine Glenn Taylor, Mr. Wonderful? You got like, could you imagine him on Shark Tank?
And you know what? He's very successful in a lot of things he does. The reality, and I've tried to tell people this before, and it's just true, and I think until you're in it, you don't get it. Sports itself and pro sports, Phil, is a different world. Like you can't be like, but I own the Star Tribune. And look, I'm not saying that your business dealings, if you're Glenn Taylor, have not been cutthroat at times and that you have not had to fire people. And I'm sure it can be tough. And you are a billionaire, basically, point to you. But when it comes to pro sports, think about it. Think about the ruthless nature. Think about how things have to be done. Think about the understanding that you must. I mean, pro sports and sports in general works different than any business. It's why when like political people from PR come into sports and they're like, I'm going to tell you what's what. You're like, no, you're not. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, shut up, observe, and find out. But Glenn's never gotten it, unfortunately, and he's not going to. But trading Karl, Phil, would just be the latest, punt, right? It would just be the latest punt, which probably started, in fairness to Glenn, with KG. So I get what you're saying, but I really think that this conversation goes to this franchise needs an owner who understands pro sports and knows what they're doing. And also, gone are the Mon Pa days, right? Like, gone are the days that, how many Glenn Taylors are there now? There are rich, successful, billionaire business people, but like, how many, I'm going to come up for Mankato for all the home games, right? Dude. Like, how many of those guys are left, Phil?
Dude, I'm glad you brought that up because like, as you were talking there, I was just kind of putting together a list in my head and thinking about like, who are the owners in the NBA right now? And why are some of these franchises, well, all of these franchises, just light years ahead of the Timberwolves in every way, right? Look at who owns teams. Mark Cuban, one of the most successful shark businessmen in the world the last 20 years, right? Steve Ballmer, Microsoft, right? Like these aren't just like family made, small town. The Buss family. One of the great professional sports ownership families and marketing families going back 45 years.
In sports, yeah,
sports
exactly.
history, right?
Yep.
And then you got this, the one guy I was trying to look up, the guy who just bought the Jazz recently. His name is Ryan Smith. He's like 42 years old. He's worth $1.5 billion. I think he's a tech guy, right? And like, yeah, Glenn Taylor has more money than him, but these dudes are not messing around at all. Like, they're looking for edges. They are curious people. They demand excellence from their organization. And it just kind of like Glenn is such a shrug your shoulders sort of bumpkin owner.
He likes sitting courtside. Like, that's his bit. Hey, I get to sit courtside. What's going on today?
Yeah. So I don't know. It's frustrating. And for the first time, I'm not saying that it would be a prudent move. I'm just saying like, I wouldn't be mad if they explored that conversation if they thought that, all right, we just need some more capital here to smooth this thing out. But I don't think trading Cat's the solution either. I'm just sort of searching for answers.
I've got one. Sell the team.
Yeah.
And then the quick comeback is, but they might move. And as I told Dex when we talked about this, I am willing to roll the dice now.
Yeah.
Like, I am now willing to roll. This is no way to live. Like, this is not a basketball existence. Yeah. This is hell.
Yeah. All right. Are we doing this? Are we doing a 1.0 right now?
Yep. We're doing this.
Wow. This is actually one of my favorite days of the year now because Randy in Cottage Grove has nailed 2 of the last 3 Vikings first-round picks. He spends basically every waking second mocking in his free time, mocking probably when he should be working, for all we know.
I'm on furlough.
Don't offend him.
You're on furlough?
Yeah, I paid leave.
Is
everything okay?
Yeah, is everything cool?
Yeah.
Like what happened there?
Yeah, I've told you, you guys in the past. It's a legal thing. It needs to blow over, and then it'll be fine.
You've been
in the meantime, they're paying me to stay away, so I'll just keep mocking.
You've been on furlough for like a year plus, right?
It takes sometimes these things take time to play out.
I guess maybe it's a glitch
I like your
in the system.
Who's your employer? Can I apply there? I'd like this furlough gig.
It's government related.
Okay, all right.
Randy knows.
It's a legal matter. It's illegal. It was a dispute to myself and one other guy who also is being paid to stay away. So, you know, you get in a dust up, and everybody wins, I guess.
Wow, I get more time for mocking, I guess, which is why you're here today, Randy. Just for people that are new here to the show, Randy in Cottage Grove, you can follow him on Twitter at RandyVikes69, and really, like we do a lot of mock drafts on this show. We are really the home for mocking in the Twin Cities. And I think Randy has emerged as maybe the king mocker, nailing 2 of the last 3 Vikings first-round picks. Now, you'll give us your final mock draft, I'm sure, as we get a little bit closer. But this is your forum, man. Randy, let's have it. Let's go from pick 1 all the way through the Vikings in the first round.
I want to mock! Mock!
This is the Randy and Cottage Grove 1.0 mock.
This is my 1.0. Of course, you know, I don't do like 17 versions like a lot of guys, Traeger. But 1.0 is a big milestone. You kind of got a lot of these trades have started to shake out, and you know, just really gives a good look at how the dominoes might fall, as they say. And I really like how this draft sets up for us. Absolutely. So we're going to start it off at the top. It's no surprise the Jags are going to take T-Law, as the kids call him, Trevor Lawrence, and he's a stud. I mean, he's just an absolute stud. He's got the look, the swagger, he's got the hair, he's got the cannon. He can run around a little bit. He's going to be the only thing that could stop his career is the Jaguars. But other than that, he's a stud. Number 2, the Jets. They're going to stay in the quarterback world, I think, and might be kind of interesting to see what has to happen to old Sam Darnold, because Zach Wilson's going to be a Jet. You know, he's a BYU kid, just a cannon. I mean, you want to talk about a hose on a guy. He is an absolute hose, and he's gonna work out. He's gonna like that bright lights in that big city. A lot of people want to know why the Niners traded
some hose in this house. It sounds like Randy's saying.
Oh, you know, I'm dating too, so a lot of people.
Randy, well, you know, no, I didn't mean that. I'm just.
Well, congratulations, you got a gal. I didn't know you got it.
2.
Got a gal.
Do you want the mock or my love life?
Both. I mean, if we have time
boys,
for both.
Should we vote? Love life.
I'm interested in the mock.
I'm not a kiss and tell. A lot of people want to know why the Niners traded up. I can tell you why. The guy by the name of Trey Lance is going to be their pick there at 3, and he will just thrive in Shanahan's offense. He really will. And I'll tell you guys this right now: he's going to make Marshall of Minnesota more proud than Schwanz. That's where Schwanz is from. But he's going to be bigger than Schwanz. Just watch.
Wow.
But Schwanz is good, actually. They do a stuffed chicken breast.
Randy. We could just.
Fact,
I don't know if this is a sponsorship or what you're doing here, but
Love life or mock.
If you could actually just like do the picks like quickly to get to 14, we know these guys are all studs and that's great. But if you could just kind of pick up the pace here.
You just want the names? You just want my order?
Just pick
Keep
up
the team and the
name.
Yeah,
All right, that's fine.
Bang, bang, bang.
All right, so Trey Lance at 3 to the Niners, and 4. I think Atlanta is gonna take Patrick Surtain. He's a really, really solid corner, and he's gonna have a absolute long career, good name, good bloodlines, good pedigree, as they say. He's gonna be the pick there for the Falcons. Now I'll tell you what. At 5, a lot of different things went through my mind at this pick, and really, ultimately, I think it's just going to come down to what kind of a situation that they're going to find themselves in. They're looking at the Bengals, and I'm going to say they go tight end. Kyle Pitts, he's just an absolute. He's a stud. He's from Florida. I'll keep it moving. At 6, Dolphins, I could see him getting cute and trying to take quarterback, but they're going to take Jalen Waddle. Alabama, he's such a great receiver, and he is a stud, and he's going to go to the Dolphins there at 6. Lions, they're also going to go receiver, and you better look out to them because Jamar Chase from LSU is going to be roaming around in Detroit, and he's a stud as well. Okay, I'll tell you what, Carolina.
You okay? You all right?
Take a breather here. Take a breather. You're halfway to the Vikings. Here we go.
Yeah, Carolina. The thing with Carolina is they could also go quarterback, but I don't think so. I think they're going to go with Penei Sewell, Oregon. He's a big beast. He's a guy who I'd love to see fall to the Vikes, but he's not going to because he's going there, and he's going to keep whoever's playing quarterback, upright. He's 6'6", goes about 3.5. I say big guy, big stud. Wish he could fall, but he's not gonna. Broncos have a lot of needs. But I think they're gonna take Mac Jones, a quarterback. I think they're gonna try to build another Elway with him, and Elway can't resist QBs, so that'll be the pick there. As we go now into the double digits, number 10. The Dallas Cowboys, there's a lot of ways the Cowboys could go with this pick, but I actually kind of think they're gonna surprise a couple of people, and they're gonna go ahead and they're gonna take a big Devonta
Smith.
Devonta, I can't remember his last name. The Alabama kid.
It's a complicated last name.
Yo, right there, Andy. You don't sound so good right now.
Yeah, pulled hernia or something.
Smith. Smith.
Do you need medical assistance?
So now we'll go to the Giants, and the Giants are going to scoop another guy that I really, really like and would like to see fall to us, but it's Christian Darrisaw, the offensive tackle from VT. A big guy. He can move around, and the Giants are going to have him in the division right there with Jalen Hurts across the way with the Eagles, and that's going to be kind of fun to see those two Alabama guys do battle. At 12, this is a pick that I, again, like to see him fall to the Vikes, but the Eagles are going to go ahead and scoop Rashawn Slater, and Northwestern, he goes off the board. So now we're getting close, and all of our linemen are going. They're just going in this. And I don't like the way it falls, but this is just what's happening, okay? I'm just telling you. At 13, again, another lineman goes. This is Vera Tucker from USC. I love Vera Tucker, and he's gone. So here we are to 14 now.
Wow. And just to set the scene here, by the way, I've been tallying. So the Vikings are on the clock here for Randy's 1.0 mock draft. Justin Fields is still on the board.
Yeah.
There are some edge rushers on the board here. I mean, the fact that Justin Fields is on the board here, one of these guys is going to fall. And so this is really interesting. And Randy, by the way, has nailed 2 of the last 3 Vikings first-round picks. And so I trust his instinct more than I trust pretty much any mocker out there, more than Mel Kiper, Todd McShay. So, all right, Vikings are on the clock, Randy. Here we go.
I can't do it, actually. Can't say it.
What?
You can't do what?
You make a good point that a lot of people might be listening. There's the other mockers, and that means other teams might glean their info. And the scenario I actually had here hasn't been written about anywhere. And I actually, now that I think about it, we shouldn't spill the beans.
What?
Because that's what Rick and Zim could, do. They do the math. Let's get this to them directly, so it doesn't end up in somebody like a Schrager or a McShay takes this scenario. I actually shouldn't do it.
That's how you're going to do it, through us. This is how this works.
How self-serving is this? You did 13 picks. You mentioned your love life. It sounds like you're straining your groin trying to get up to it, and now you're just going to ditch it?
Yeah, it hurts.
Well, who do you got, Randy? To the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it now. You make a good point. I got to go back to I maybe need to put out some subterfuge. Or like a different.
No, this is my draft.
Did you wait a second? Are you using our show for like smoke screens? What is this? Just tell us who you have at 14.
Now that I think about it, you make a good point. I don't want to put this out there. Then next thing you know, it gets picked up and someone gets some of that steam, and then he doesn't fall to us. Do you want him to fall to us or not?
No, I don't care. Who is the pick?
I can't. Jeff, I'm not going to tell because at this point, I got to go back to the drawing board and figure out who's listening to this thing.
Dude, you realize that like you just wasted like 10 minutes of all of our lives in our show.
No,
like,
I talked to Dexter, and he said it was fine. I mean, look, I'm not going to give it out, okay? Not unless I have on good authority that it's already occurred to Rick. Let's get it to Rick first. Now that you say it, the way my mock lands is a dream scenario, and I can't risk that. So no, you don't even try to extrapolate who we're taking, because now I can't say it unless I know it. Rick already has a chance to take a peek at it.
It's Fields, right? It's got to be Fields.
I don't know that. You don't know that. Who knows? It could be anybody now. Who knows?
Wow.
I can't. I got to go back to the drawing board now. Now I'm in my head. Now I'm going to have the mock yips. This is bad.
Precious. Come on.
The Chuck Knob block of mock drafting.
This is unbelievable.
You just hang up.
He did.
Last year he got pissed off because of you, and I think it took us like a week to get, or 2 weeks to get the mock, and now he's blaming you too. He said that you basically pointed out the fact, and now he's going to get it to Rick.
Well,
I got nothing. I got nothing.
He just wasted all of our time there. We're never going to get the 10 minutes back that we just spent leading up to that 14th overall pick. I feel like we should almost apologize to our audience here. I didn't realize he was going to just not tell us who he had at 14. So how's this going to work in a month when it's time to put your final mock out there? You know, is he going to do the same thing?
He's going to act like he got it right, I think is what he's going to do. He's probably
he's just going to wait till after the draft and be like, oh.
Yeah.
He doesn't get credit now.
No, he doesn't.
Like, there's no way I'm giving him credit for this.
Man.
This is a BS stunt on his part.
You know, maybe he'll get drunk and just tweet who he thinks is going to be the pick. That I would probably put that as the betting favorite right now. He'll go on Twitter at RandyVikes69 and get drunk and send out the 14th pick. Maybe he'll try to email it to Rick and accidentally do it on his Twitter account.
I've shot my shot after a couple drinks. There's minimal repercussions that could happen from that. So
this is incredibly disappointing.
It
also,
is.
I just have to say, too, in terms of, like, multiple people at his company being furloughed, it sounds like whatever company Randy works for could use a little risk management help. And that's where our friends at Federated come in. All right, Federated Mutual Insurance Company is here to help your business with peace of mind, with risk management resources. In fact, MyShield was recently launched by Federated, the online client destination for risk management resources. So think about all the things that could be risks at your company, whether it's company vehicles, company ladders. Well, MyShield and Federated have resources and policies and various guidelines that you can help create for your employees and your company. Federatedinsurance.com or download the app. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours.
By the way, Randy Vikes69 just put out a tweet.
Yeah.
I have to rework my mock now. So he's now letting Twitter know, as well as our show, that he has to rework his entire mock.
I think you should put that clip out on social media of him doing what he just did, just so people can know how big of a show-stealing fraud he was today.
Yeah.
So what?
It's precious real estate we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
So is the real reason why he did not give us the Vikings 14th pick is because he was embarrassed that Phil pointed out that Fields was not gone yet, and he realized he had screwed up.
I bet you that.
And so now he's going to redo the mock and have Fields probably going within the top 5 or something.
Yeah, so he probably.
You think that's it, or top 8?
Well, at one point I thought I heard him typing too, so I don't want to accuse him of anything, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe he was fishing for someone else's mock there. I think Peter Schrager's been in his head for a couple years.
Hey, called him out.
Well, because there was the whole plagiarism accusation against Schrags a few years back.
Yeah.